Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in 2.5, we don't just have 4 characters to decide from, we also have the 4 signature Lightcones to choose from. It's such a huge thing to decide, and because all of our accounts are very different, in this video, I'm going to go through all 8 of these things to pull on, and I'll share with you my honest thoughts, what are my recommendations, and priorities perhaps if you are a super whale and you want to go for multiple of them. What order should you go for? Should you go for Eidolon's signature first or whatever not? First things first. If you are like the majority of people watching this video, and I'll share with you new player perspective as well, majority of people, TLDR, E0, S0 Robin is probably the highest priority out of all of them. At this point in the game, she's probably on par, or some will argue even better than Runmei already, and because of the arrival of Feixiao, super strong. She's very good DPS support, and she does damage on the side, can be played into most teams relatively well, and now is probably has one of the stronger teams available together with Feixiao too. Definitely E0, S0, highly recommended, will add value to any account that she will fit in. That is my highest priority. On the flip side, when does Feixiao actually be more valuable than Robin? In my opinion, Feixiao is slightly higher if you're a new player, especially if you are trying to get on with the game, you do not have Akirion, you missed the free doctor ratio, you didn't get Firefly and Akirion and stuff like that, and you're looking for a DPS, Feixiao is probably a pretty high up on the list that you can consider getting. She will carry your account for a while. If you're a new player, the banner roster is also very strong. You get Esther, you get Moza. We have been playing with them on live streaming on Twitch with these team, and it works actually very fine for a free-to-play team. Just slapping on banner characters with the last slot instead of Luca, you have like a sustain, works quite well too. If you want more details comparing like the different characters or their best teams, you can check out on the channel as well. You'll find it very helpful. But my first recommendation, Feixiao, Robin, depending on your game state. Second priority, very simple. They just switch around. If you got Robin first, you are like majority of players in the game who have been playing for a while. Your second pick should be Feixiao. She is best in class. She outperforms a lot of other of her competitors. Like some people play in the same team with like Dr. Ratio, Topaz and Nambi and Robin. Feixiao replaces Dr. Ratio in that team competition. It's just massively strong even at E0, S0, and probably my recommendation for anyone, even if you're a later game player, I think Feixiao is worth it to pick up at least one copy of. She likely will be quite strong, as a lot of people are already mentioning. And we have also in the channel, as we talked about, between Akirion as well as Feixiao comparison. If you're interested in that, check it out on the channel. We have more information about that. But now talking about the other 2 characters, Black Swan is more of a DPS character for the nitty DOT aspect. If you are looking to play her, she has many good options available free to play. You can play together with like Sampo, Koski, you can play Kuei Knife, and all these characters are going to be good with Black Swan. That will make her work. Esther is decent in DOT teams also because she provides a lot of attack and speed, which DOT characters like. The choice between Black Swan and Kafka, we will have a video out on the channel also, you can check it out comparing between both of them. But long story short is Kafka is slightly better for longer term investment because of her ability to proc shock on the enemies or proc the DOT on the enemies at any instance of time. Great, especially if you are looking for a hopper kind of character to go against anything that however's might eventually power creep DOT, like slow them down, slow the enemies down so they don't even move, can't even pop the DOT. Kafka hedges a lot of that risk too. But in general, overview, DOT as a style, as we mentioned on the channel, might not get too much love depending on how Hoiverse is planning to take it. There is a lot of risk, a lot of things still lies in like Hoiver's point of view. Are they going to help shift it in favor? If they're going to shift it in favor, introduce more DOT in future, I think DOT is going to be very attractive. But at this current point of time, as of time of recording, the information that we have gathered from the previous few videos until now, seems that they might be more interested in going something along the lines of like a new summon meta set, so which they just released also. So if they're going to the summon meta, DOT is a style that's quite niche, might not be worth it to double down on this niche style yet until we have more support. Of course, by the time we get more support, maybe we might have missed their banner. So that's just one disclaimer that I want to talk about. If you do not care too much about the design of Kafka and Black Swan, I think it's worthwhile skipping them for now. Since DOT might not be the flavor of the month yet. But however, if you really like these characters, I think it's still very nice to get them. You do not know when they're coming back because Kafka already has 3 banners. Her 4th banner might never come, might come 1 year, 2 years later. So that is one important thing to consider too. So between the 4 characters, Robin and Feixiao, top priority. In my third priority of picking like for general players, my recommendation, I wouldn't even say like it's any of the Lightcones. If you have seen our channel, right, we compared Feixiao from E0 all the way to E6 and S0 with cruising in the Stellar Sea all the way to like her S5 on the creator server. On my account personally, I am just leaving her at E0, S0 and I have characters that are very built, which is like E2, S1, Akirion. I do spend on a lot of characters in the game, but yet my confidence in Feixiao is high enough for me to like say officially I'm very comfortable leaving her at E0, S0, especially since you have Cruising the Stellar Sea, which is very strong, Herta Shock, Lightcone, free to play as well. You also have the option to use other limited Lightcones which are very strong if you happen to have them, like Dr. Ratio Signature, Zealous in the Night. These two work very well with her, and I would just like switch them around if I really needed the extra stats. So no need to rush for me since she scales very nicely with similar Lightcones. I wouldn't like pull for her Lightcone just because of forking out the money as well. One of the important things I want to talk about is if your money is unlimited, yes, it's a good idea to pull. But if you have seen our PSA video on the channel, we actually mentioned why now is the time to actually start saving. Don't go ham and like E6 your Robin, E6 your Feixiao, whack everything, all your savings here and there. Because one thing that I want to point out to you is it is very suspicious right now in the timing of them introducing these quadruple banners. They probably know that we have a bit of savings, and from what I've seen from the videos, a lot of you are also pulling for like multiple characters in this patch, multiple Lightcones, and if that's the case, it means that there is quite a lot of community savings going around. 2.6 also only has one limited new character, so they might be shocking us with an Akirion rerun then, or even like Aventurian rerun. So be prepared for a huge reruns in the next two patches, because we are closer to what's about to come, which we talked about in PSA video. I highly recommend you check it out if you are wanting to be less FOMO and wanting to save a bit more. But anyways, E0, S0, Feixiao, super good. I wouldn't even put I venture forth to hunt as third priority. Instead, my third priority and recommendation, if you really wanted to force yourself to spend on something, right, will be probably go for E1 Robin. E1 Robin is very strong because this is a very generic increase in damage. Anyone can benefit from this. Some characters actually require a lot more to get that. So that 24% rest pen on E1, Lota has it at E6 just for that rest pen. So you actually save like 6 characters just to get that. It's crazy amount of value you can get out of the E1. So I think it's quite strong. But again, not necessary. You don't really need Eidolons and Lightcones in Honkai Star Rail. You can get by with a lot of cheaper alternatives as well. My Robin is personally E0, S0, and she works quite fine too. That's my honest thoughts. So E1 probably the next priority. Other than that, if we are talking about if you really must pull like a Lightcone, because now that I've mentioned all of them, if you're interested in my thoughts on like E0 to E6 Feixiao, you can check out the video on the channel as well, which we compare every single. I share with you all my full thoughts there. Long story short is I think E0 and S0 is good enough. But if you really wanted to make her, you really like her, you want more power, check the video out. I'll tell you my honest recommendations there. But let's go on with the Lightcones here, the decision making between the four of them. Since we mentioned I venture forth to hunt is great, it's very strong, but Feixiao doesn't really need it to be a good DPS. She's already a strong one without this one. The question then lies the remaining 3. And out of all these 3, unfortunately for us, they're all really very good Lightcones. Reforged Remembrance makes Black Swan very, very strong. She's already decently strong, but it helps her get a lot stronger with the 5-star stats as well. Robin's Flowing Night Glow is of course really strong. Really good for her as well, and some people will put it as like 4th priority after E1 S0 Robin. But my personal pick, and the only one I put out all 4 of them, is Patience is All You Need. This is Kafka's signature, and I think this is the most versatile out of all of them, and let me explain my rationale with you guys. So Kafka's signature Lightcone here is pretty much a DOT character on its own. It increases your damage by 24% on whoever you slap on it with, so any Nihility character probably will use this. Increase speed, any Nihility character doesn't mind this as well. It stacks also, so you get a lot of speed, a lot of damage increase for a very generic use that any character can use. At the same time, it transforms any Nihility character that you have into a DOT character with a 100% base chance to erode, and it's a special shock, which means that you can stack with other shock characters, for example like Serval if you wanted to apply that shock. Very, very interesting. This is an entire DOT character on its own, very unique, and I think it's definitely worth considering. Very versatile. Out of the 4 of them, I picked the one that goes a longer way, and I think the Patience is All You Need is probably one of the interesting ones for the long haul. Of course, not to mention, all of these are all really strong. Robin's Lightcone is of course really good, but Harmony Lightcones in general have very, very good alternatives. So I picked the Harmony Lightcones instead that are cheaper instead of going for her signature. And that's my honest thought, because Robin is already so decently good. E0, S0, E1, S0 even more. And yeah, those are my honest thoughts. If you appreciate such content, you found this video helpful and very nice collating all the data. If you want specific comparison of like Black Swan versus Kafka, Robin versus Feixiao, or even their team competitions, check out the guides on our channel. We have tons recently just published as well, updated for 2.5. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Appreciate your attention. Share this with any of your friends who are playing Honkai Star Rail now and also maybe struggling to make a decision and priority. Thank you guys again so much for watching. See you next video.